Hello, in today's tutorial we're going to be discussing Dummy NPC, what it is, what it does, and in particularly we're going to be focusing on the spawner spell, as I like to call it. So what we're going to be trying to recreate is the red circles spells that the NPCs are doing, and that is something that I like to call RTA, for Red Target Aura. And technically what is happening is the boss is spawning creatures via spell, and these creatures are called dummy NPCs. These dummy NPCs have an additional smart script attached so that they can do an additional smart scripts function. And that's what we're going to be doing today. How to make the dummy NPC and the spell work together. So this tutorial is divided in two sections. First is what you will need, and second is putting things together. Now let's begin with what you will need. This consists of three very important parts. So first and foremost, you're going to need your spell. That's the spell that the creature will be using, right? I'm going to be using the Lightning Strike Jutsu. That is the spell. And it is important that this spell does not have a player only flag, and also does not have minimum range, because when the dummy is spawned, it is not going to be able to cast the spell. Then we're going to need the spawner dummy. So what you want to do for the dummy NPC is to know that the dummy NPC is a creature that is invisible to players, and it acts as a trigger NPC. Trigger NPC is a trigger that helps you do smart scripts with an additional invoker. In this particular case, we're using a spawner dummy, but the spawner dummy is the same as just the regular dummy. I just named it spawner dummy to kind of help me know in the future what is this creature used for. But I recommend just to say dummy in the subname. So the first important thing is, for faction, you would like to have 14. That is for neutral. Of course, you can be flexible with it, depending on what you need to do. For type, doesn't really matter. You can put type 10. That means unspecified. Of course, you need to give the smart AI for a name, so that it can work with the smart scripts later. And the most important thing as well is Flux Extra 128. That makes the creature a trigger spell and also invisible to players. And also you need to be careful what model ID you use, because if it's not a working model ID, the creature is not going to spawn. Now we have the spells, we have the creature. We need to put things together, and this involves two crucial steps. First, we're going to need the so-called spawner spell. And this spell, what it does is, it's a spell that when you cast it, it spawns the dummy NPC, and the dummy NPC spawns the spell. So this is the Lightning Strike Jutsu, right? And this is the Lightning Strike Jutsu casted by the creature. So you need a spell, which is a summoning spell, which is going to summon the dummy NPC for you, and the dummy in turn is going to cast the spell. So as a player you cannot see this, but as a GM it is going to look like this. The dummy NPC spawn, and it casts the spell. Now it's important to know that this spawner spell has to be done in spell DBC, so you need to ask somebody who has access to spell DBC to make that spell for you. Luckily we can just duplicate this spawner spell and just replace the spawned creature. Until somebody is available to help you with duplicating that spawner spell for you and letting you choose the creature that you need, you can just use this spell as a placeholder for your creature. Then you're going to need to create the smart scripts for the creature so that when it spawns, it does all the good things. So first of all, we'll be using smart event update, which over after a certain amount of time, it does the action type. So the first thing we want to do is we want to spawn the creature, right? But this is going to be done through the spawner spell, so the creature will already be spawned. And we're just working on what the dummy NPC does after it's being spawned. So first, it is casting the RTA on itself as an aura. Then the second thing we want to do is we want to make it cast on itself the damaging spell, which is an area damage spell, so it's going to damage the players as well, right? This also has to be 1 for self-casting. If 11 for casting does not work, you can replace it with self-cast action type, which is 85. And then the last part is to despawn the dummy so that it does not stay in there for eternity. And that involves, again, you need to give some minimum time before you despawn so that it does not despawn instantaneously. And for action type, we use force despawn, smart action force despawn, which is 41. And that's it. Now, sometimes you would like the RTA to despawn before the actual spell or before the dummy despawns. Let's say that, for example, the cloud with the snake, the RTA is there to show that the spell is going to be there, but the spell is missed, which does damage over time, right? So I would want to despawn the RTA but keep the dummy and despawn it later. So in that case, I just use action type 28 to just remove the aura. Remove the aura from the dummy. And then the dummy is going to despawn later on. And that's all. You can find all of those tables in the description that you can use for your own replication and reverse engineering.